What's up guys, Color Me Fresh here. You saw the thumbnail, your boy's going to get you right. Today I'm going to show you guys different methods you can put your images on your kicks. Now a couple of these methods may be more common than others, and I'm kind of going to try to list it from like easiest or cheapest to more expensive, because the other ones aren't really harder. They might just be more time consuming to start, but might be easier overall. So yeah, now quick disclaimer before we get into this video, remember these methods are only supposed to be used as tools. If you're a beginner and you're trying to learn, that's fine. Even if you're not a beginner and you're still learning, that's fine as well. But you do not want to use these methods and solely use these methods forever. There is no substitution for studying and practicing. The only way you're going to get your artwork to go from looking like this to this is by studying and practicing. Art is one of those things to where the more you study and the more you actively do it, you just get better at it. It's a skill that you can develop over time. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now before we get to drawing, I recommend you putting a base coat or two of flat white paint down. Now what flat white does is it just finishes matte. It doesn't have the same glossy finish that most Angelus paint has. So it makes it a lot easier for you to draw on it if you're using a pencil. I don't cover my entire shoe in flat paint because it has duller in it. That's why it's flat. And that's not necessarily a problem. It's just the duller or the kind of matte to it may weaken the paint a little bit. And again, for me, I'd rather have 100% bond or integrity of my paint as opposed to 98. Even though that 2% probably won't make a difference, it's just peace of mind for me. So I only put the flat paint where I'm painting characters at usually. So the first method is the most common method, and it's the one that, you know, most people use, and that's the tracing method. I mean, if you have a printer, it's pretty much the cheapest. And then all you do is find your reference image, and I recommend you measuring, you know, whatever size the image you want it to be, as you can see I'm doing here. And then from there, just print it out, cut it, and begin to tracing. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Now some people do the whole cut out every piece, like they'll cut the head away from the hair, or they'll cut the head away from the neck. Like they cut out everything and completely trace that. Now again, if you are a beginner or if you're somebody that uses that out of convenience, cool. What I do if I'm using this method is I'll just pinpoint, you know, marks. As you can see, it doesn't really look like anything special, and then I'll freehand the rest. I'm freehanding, all I do is a rough sketch. Yes, I know Goku's eyes are cocked like a pistol. That's fine. Again, it's a rough sketch. You don't want to do a refined sketch because normally what happens is when you do a refined sketch, you're afraid of messing it up. And so people tend to just color inside the lines, similar to like a coloring book. And when you do that, it doesn't really help your image look organic. And so I tend to tell people to stay away from doing that. A rough sketch, in my opinion, is best. Now, the only time I do more refined sketches is if it's more of like a dynamic pose, or it's at an angle where perspective comes into play, similar to this Gara image here, or if it's for social media. Like I haven't posted on my Instagram in a while and it's a work in progress shot. Like I can't post something that looks like complete doo-doo. You know, I gotta spice it up a little bit. And so those are the only times I'll do a refined sketch. Outside of that, I keep it very rough, and I suggest you guys do the same. Now, the next method I don't think is that common, and that is using graphite paper. And so as you can see, all you do is take the same printed image, cut it out, tape it to the graphite paper. Now, it's not going to stick too well because it's graphite. I don't know what I was thinking, but you know. But I do recommend you cutting it out and maybe trying to tape it to the shoe. And then from there, you can use like a ballpoint pen or this tracing tool you see me using to kind of transfer the image from the picture to the sneaker. And you can't really see it that well because I had the original image underneath it, so that's kind of coming through. I didn't completely remove the first image off the shoe. I should have, but you know, players mess up. But I did write my name, Sean, as you can see, and it showed up pretty well. Now this method I do like. I feel like if you take your time with it and don't rush it, you'll probably get cleaner lines, because when you're doing the tracing method, it works well. But if you have one line that's off, it can adjust and mess up the entire picture. So if you're tracing like a nose and that nose line is off, and you're trying to line the picture back up with that nose, and everything else is going to be off because that nose line is off, if that makes sense. So this method may work as well too. Try it out. I mean, it's pretty cheap. This paper might be like $7. I'll have a link of this graphite paper in the description down below. Now, another method I've never really used it. I know some people do, and that's when you take tape and put it like on your computer screen or your iPad, you trace it, cut it out, and put it on the shoe. I mean, to me, if you're gonna do all of that, you might as well just print it out of the printer and just have at it. But I do think most people use that for more of like portrait work or smaller portrait work, because with portraits, you don't really have hard lines. And so if you just want to get the proportions right, this will work well there. But again, if it's a bigger image, you're going to need more tape, and you might as well just print it out of the printer, in my honest opinion. Now, the next method is going to require a stencil maker, like a Cricut machine or a Cricut machine. I have a Silhouette Cameo, but anything that you can cut stencils out of. Now, if you don't have one of these, I suggest you get one. It makes your life a whole lot easier with certain designs. If you do have one, you're in luck, my friend. And all you do is just have your black outline. You send it to your software, send it to your stencil maker. It cuts it out for you, and you just place it on the shoe and paint it as you would any other stencil. Now, I'll only use this method when I'm doing original work. So when I did Kilo 47, I draw it digitally, as you can see, and then I outline it because sometimes I turn it into a print and I don't feel like drawing it a second time. So I normally just use this method because I already have the line work for it and transfer it to my shoe. If you want to give it a try, I suggest you do so. And then the last method is freehand. I mean, we all know what that is, so do I really need to show it? You know. And if that was your picture in the before shot, I apologize, but there's casualties in the war, my friend, and you just took one for the team. You just dove on the grenade for the entire custom sneaker community. We appreciate your service. So those are the main methods, guys. Again, use them as a tool. You do not want to solely constantly depend on them for the rest of your artistic career. Try to learn, try to get better. You want to use a reference. You don't want to be a slave to the reference. Go ahead, do your boy a favor, subscribe one time, save a baby kitten. I will have links in the description down below. I will also have links of other items that I use pretty regularly down below as well. Till the next video, guys. Appreciate you. Peace.